the farm field here in the southern part of Okinawa. As you can see, there are greenhouses, quite normal for a farm. I thought those were sugar canes, or I think sorghum. I can't figure out what are those, but they're full of weeds in here, fallen trees. It's basically not really interesting. I'm Donna, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would give justice to this unmarked or uninteresting place. There's a bit of inscription in here, which unfortunately I couldn't tell you because I couldn't read in Japanese. But this one, an information that this is the Imperial Army Medical Corps underground headquarters, and this is natural cave. There is also no information if we could go inside, but we'd rather not because that's a natural cave, so we don't know what are those kind of animals or snakes living in there. Now, on the first day here in Okinawa, we went into the Japanese Imperial Navy man-made cave, which were their headquarters. You would have thought that those are the bunker where they send the HIMEYURI Girls. I've also made a story about the HIMEYURI Girls. These are the all-girls school who were trained to be the nursing corps of the Japanese Imperial Navy, and they were told that the war is coming and they're going to serve in a hospital. But actual situation, there is a HIMEYURI Memorial for the girls. We also went there, which is just a random plot that they purchased. I mean, they is those who were alumni who graduated also into that HIMEYURI Girls School, who wanted to commemorate their fellow student who died in the war. There were 222 of them who actually were conscripted, and they were not informed that they're going to serve in a hospital like this one. This is the actual one, and if you are not aware about the HIMEYURI Girls, and if you don't really search, there was actually no information, even the road coming in here. You will just be driving into the farm road. I want to show you the place, and this is what we drive through to go in there to find that place. So it's nothing. You wouldn't find any sign that says this is the cave where the HIMEYURI Girls was stationed during the war. It was in a Google map, but you just have to find your way because this is in the middle of the farms. This here is where the Japanese forces bring their wounded soldiers, and these girls age 14 to 16 or 14 to 19 would actually cure them, and I'm not so sure if it is even allowed to go in there because it is a natural cave and it is actually not maintained by any of the national government who preserve the history. And also that's one thing about this one, because maybe in my own assumption, the Japanese government doesn't want to know this part of history where they conscripted these young girls to actually serve in the front of the war. And this is 5 kilometers from the Cornerstone of Peace. So this is very strategic for the Imperial Japanese Army because they could hide in here. If you come here in Okinawa, I think it is worth a visit because this is not the touristic kind of thing that they build a nice entrance into the cave just like what they did into the man-made cave of Japanese Imperial Navy. This is the actual one that being used, and it was not even being maintained. When you go to the HIMEYURI Memorial Museum, which is also not far from here, the surviving HIMEYURI girls were saying that there are thousands and thousands of them living inside. Sometimes they could only eat 1 bowl of rice in a day, and that's it for them to last for the day. And during the night, the Japanese army will have to send them out to go and find for food. My point of the story is that how lucky we are as 14 to 19 years old girls. We've never experienced serving in the front of the war. Never mind serving, but the situation is so dire like this. You are thrown in front of the war and you are not really prepared. The whole place is packed of wounded soldiers. I remember one of the HIMEYURI survivors saying that one of the soldiers' face was broken up. There are maggots crawling all over their wounded soldier. I can't imagine that because this is a natural cave basically. If it is raining, it will just be so muddy and all of them were sleeping in there. This just made me think that the more we should be grateful for the sacrifices of those who lost their lives in the war as young as 14 years old. When the Japanese lost the war, most of the American forces were actually on the coast, and these girls were let go. They says you're free to go. But they were so indoctrinated that they believed the Imperial Japanese Army was saying that do not be captured by the Americans, otherwise you will be killed, you will be raped, or you will be eaten alive. Most of the girls were actually committed suicide rather than be captured. Some of the girls actually survived and they were taken into the prisoners of war by the Americans. This is according to the accounts of the girls who survived the Himeyuri. They says that if they did not believe what Japanese army were saying, were indoctrinating them that these Americans were going to kill them, there must be a lot of their fellow students would have survived. I think 76 years ago it still looks like this. It's farm, and of course except for those new buildings with greenhouses, I think this is all just like this, untouched. So yeah, that's it. I thought I just want to give it one story about this place because this must be unmarked, ordinary looking, but this here is so much of history to tell. The history of these girls were taken into the HIMEYURI Memorial Hall, but I think this is the fitting place that they should be commemorating it. Thank you for exploring with me here in a very